Right. Tonight we have the wonderful Hitomi. This lovely lady is so clever. She's a clinical psychologist. We have a partner, Addy, who is a former NASA scientist. Oh yeah, right. So tonight they're going to be telling us about a book they've written which is available to buy afterwards if you want, and you will want it because it's excellent. It's called The Reality Decoder. It's a guide of the soul's journey on our flat earthly realm. So without further ado, I'm going to give the floor up to the wonderful Addy and Hitomi. Give them a flat earth station round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so where do we begin? I think the inspiration for this talk started at probably like 2 or 3 meetups ago when Flat Earth Dave was taking questions and he was saying they're trying to hide our divinity, and somebody said, "What do you mean they're trying to hide our divinity?" So in a way, this talk is almost like a continuation of that discussion. My name is Adi Andrei. I'm a former NASA scientist. Wow. But I'm also, if you want, a survivor of the communist regime in Romania. I grew up there when the things were, full blown. Then I moved to America, and I realized that the West also lives in communism, but they just don't know it.
Yeah,
And it's getting worse now. And I've got about more than 30 years actually of hands-on experience working with computers, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. I've also worked, and I'm still working as a director of data science and business intelligence for different organizations.
Are you a spy, Addy?
He's a de facto.
No!
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the shape of the Earth.
Hi, my name is Hitomi. I'm a psychologist, but I'm also a homeopath, so I'm trying to combine holistically into my practice. I wrote a book on dreams, so but I'll let most of the talk do I'll put back in later.
Thank you.
Very generous of you. We also been running for 15 years a meetup in central London. Now it's online. After COVID, we moved it online, where people from all walks of life just drop in and share their dreams, and then we help them make sense of what those dreams mean for where they are in life at the moment, and what the messages are from the wisdom within their own subconscious. So, large part of my job for the past 30 years have been to find meaning in data. Sometimes huge amounts of data, sometimes not enough data. And it's always about trying to figure out what that data means. So throughout this presentation, you're gonna hear me asking this question a lot: what does this mean? I basically look for patterns and connect those patterns to actionable insights. So in my job, I can't really speculate a lot and get away with it. If I make a speculation, I have to prove it. And usually I look into a space of kind of infinite number of solutions, trying to find the needle in a haystack. So as a result, I have to work with models. Anybody here who doesn't understand what a model is? Okay. You're all familiar with the anti-model, right? The globe model. So models are not truth, but some resemble reality better than others, and we need models in order to function and to understand and to find meaning in things. The main thing is that you should always be ready to adjust your model in the light of new information. And a theme that's gonna permeate through this presentation is how do you distinguish between reality and things that exist but they're not really connected with ultimate reality. We'll get there. I'm sure a lot of you will be saying like, okay, so what the hell did you do for NASA? I did not work for the space program, okay? So you can put the guns away. So what we did was take data from the flight recorders at the end of every day. That's about 10,000 flights per day in the US. Run that through a computer algorithm that is looking to find potential safety issues, but without having specifics in what we're looking for. So we're just looking for patterns and potentially dangerous patterns and anomalies. So we see how things normally go, and then, okay, what stands out that goes against everything else.
Maybe we want to tell them your aviation program within.
So I was working directly with NASA's aviation safety director and a team of 20 other people all doing different things, but I built the brain of this thing, okay? The thing that was in that computer that then all this data gets processed, and in the morning it goes to the usually retired pilots that looks through it and validate, was this really a potential safety issue or not? And we've got lots of patents and awards for this work. And the technology, although it was about 20 years ago, it's still state of the art today. And we did this, analyzing billions and billions of data points on computers that had half a gig of RAM. Your mobile phone has 8 gigs, okay? And it was like half a gigahertz or 1 gigahertz. Your mobile phone, I think, it works at something like much more right now. I don't know. But your mobile phone in your pocket right now is about 10 times more powerful than the computer I was using. So the agenda for today, coming back to Earth, is what can we learn from the lie? So we don't know what the truth is, but we know that they lie. So what can we learn by looking at the lie? And then we'll see how that throws us into another thing, like after or at the same time with discovering flat Earth, or at least the fact that we don't live on a spinning ball, and there was also the emergence of this old world discovery. And I think it's about time for this, for the discovery of the old humanity, old consciousness. And then we're going to see how different people are at different levels of consciousness. And you all had this experience, talking to somebody and feeling like you're talking to someone from another planet, pun intended. And then we're going to have a fun look at who are the opposing forces. Your aliens, demons, and whatever have you. Luckily, this audience doesn't believe in ETs, so it's going to be easy. Extraterrestrials from outer space. And the main thing at the end, probably the most practical thing, it was, what is it that we can do? So they lie to us, they lie about everything. We live in a place that is actually very different than what we've been told. We are not what we've been told either. What is it that we can do? So we knew about, we know about flat earth for several years, if not decades. We've known now about the old world, we know about all the lies. But at some point it gets frustrating. So what can you do about it? Well, believe it or not, there's a lot you can do. And it doesn't involve, throwing Bill Gates off the Empire State Building or something.
But that's still a good shout. That's still one we can have.
There's a lot you can do. So let's start at the beginning. We all know authorities lie. We know that all of them lie, and we know that they lie about everything. And that's a really good clue. Why would they have to lie all the time about everything, all of them? Famous William Casey quote, I don't have to tell you, you've probably seen it like 100 times. But there's a newer quote that you might not have seen it yet. It's just from about 3 weeks ago from Elon Musk. It was pretty much confirming what we already know. It says it's a very common mistake for people to believe that media, and I would say pretty much every authority, only lies about the thing that you understand. But the truth is they lie about everything. I mean, what are the odds that they would only lie about the stuff that you understand? Not that Elon is any different, but but it's okay. You don't have to trust anyone. You can find the truth within yourself and judge for yourself. So what is that they mostly lie about? I mean, obviously about everything, but what's the emphasis? Where and when we are, okay, we know that here. Why we're here? Well, you're lost in space and you're here for no reason. You're just an accident, like that's what they say. And most likely, who we are. So this one you're not even supposed to talk about. It's like a taboo. What do they get out of it? Well, they get your consent, and that gives them power over you. What does this mean? That means that there must be power in this truth that they're so afraid of that they spend any and all energy on suppressing it, including any and all of our energy.
It's good news, though.
Very good.
Yep.
Therefore, we don't know the truth yet. But whatever that truth is, we know what it cannot be, and that is, it cannot be something that's disempowering. So whenever they come and tell you, hey, we're the aliens that Galactic Federation and you're our children and we created you, you tell them where to shop it, right? Where can we find the truth? So you get the most decorated US naval officer saying, right here on Earth, there's unexplored space for the new generation, bigger than the United States. And what happens next? This guy shows up. And then they put this on TV in front of you for like 15, 20 years. Yep, the X-Files. And then they bring these clowns up, and every single movie right now is probably science fiction, even if it doesn't try to be science fiction, right? So what does this mean? So that means the truth is probably not out there. You agree? So if it's not out there, where is it? Yep, right here and within ourselves. Okay, so where are we? What is this realm? We know what it is not, but do we know what it is? So when you look around in nature, you see these forms. You see the golden mean, you see this sacred geometry, you see self-similarity. This is something that somebody put on the Flat Earth Social about a couple of days ago, right? That's your land, that's a tree. So, do we start to see a pattern here? Not sure if you're familiar what fractals are, but they are patterns that, it's a very simple pattern that can create incredibly complex geometric shapes and manifestation of beauty and so on. For example, the simplest one is you take a straight line and you bend it. And then you do exactly the same to the newly created straight lines, and then to the newly created straight lines, and so on. And then you end up, after going for a few steps, with things that look like this. And then you have these things going on. Right? On the right, you have the cymatic frequencies. So you have a sound frequency that creates that amazing pattern. On the left, you have the church windows. And in the middle, you have a top-down view of your own DNA. So it looks like almost everything in the creation is created not, with a hammer and chisel, but rather with frequency. And it looks like some kind of frequency is behind all manifestation. But what kind of frequency? I mean, we can do cymatics with sound, but are there any other kind of frequencies? So you've got Masaru Emoto and projecting feelings and thoughts onto water and then freezing it. And that creates amazing patterns. So maybe this tells us a little bit about the nature of this frequency that's creating reality. Maybe it's something that has to do with thought or consciousness. So, what does it mean? Where are we? Obviously on a plane. But what kind of plane? Can we agree with this? What's a special characteristics of this plane? Besides what we've seen so far. It's a plane of consciousness, but what seems to be one of the interesting characteristics of consciousness? You guys know what this is, right?
Yeah.
So it's the clock in Prague that's actually the map of the bigger Earth, that you can also see it reflected on the moon. If you're not familiar with this, look up the YouTube channel of Vibes of Cosmos. They've got a hell of a lot of interesting information. But so probably some of you know about this moon being a reflection of the Earth, but how many of you know that the sky, the stars, are actually also a reflection of the bigger Earth?
on then.
So, not only can you, if you look at the craters on the moon, they also correspond with the constellations and everything else you can see in the sky, the big stars.
I did not know that.
No, most people don't. But again, you go to Vibes of Cosmos, but they're not the only ones. And then there's a really interesting guy in Belgium. He's slightly annoying, the way he talks. He's got a very weird sense of humor. But he's got a really interesting theory, and actually he brings a lot of proof to it. And he actually shows in his research that you can find a map of the bigger Earth in one crater on the moon. Well, it's 50 hours of videos and a lot of stuff that actually shows that it might be possible.
Absolutely, you can't deny it these days. You just can't deny anything, can you? So.
No, but I mean, it's not really just crazy talk. I mean, the guy has got a lot of supporting stuff that even if this is not true, but he's just looking at his theory and all the things he brings in from all ways of conspiracy, it's actually really interesting.
Does that make the moon a solid object?
No?
Sorry, can you explain, do you mind explaining that last bit again? Because it was a little bit complex. That last bit when you said about the planets reflecting on. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else got lost, but I got a bit lost.
Right, so,
All right.
so the moon is a reflection of the Earth. Actually, the next slide will explain that probably a bit better. Actually, the sky is a reflection of the Earth. Just like the moon is a reflection of the Earth, but slightly closer. And then you have a crater on the moon that's a reflection of the Earth. So the nature of this reality that we live in seems to be self-reflection. This is Indra's web, which is a Hindu Vedic concept. They say 7,000 years ago. Either way, it's very old. The idea is that they say reality is like drops of dew in the nodes of a spider's web. And each drop of dew is reflecting the whole. But then each other drop of dew is reflecting it back to itself. So you have an infinite reflection, self-reflection. In a little bit easier to see, it's this. So everything is reflected in this, but if you look at any reflection, it will reflect itself also, and then infinitely. So, what does this mean? That means the truth is reflected in everything in creation. Okay? In John 1:3 says, all things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. So this organizing principle, this organizing frequency, this primordial frequency that creates everything in manifestation, it created everything, therefore is reflected in everything around you. In nature, not in man-made stuff. And that's why they have to lie about everything all the time. All of them. Okay? Because true reality is everywhere around you. So they need to create a system that you do not see that anymore. Therefore, they cannot go by your senses. They have to go by your mind. They try to program your mind so that you don't see reality anymore, but see an artificial construct that they created. Matrix, whatever you want to call it. And that's why they have to lie all the time and about literally everything. Because if one thing cracks, the whole thing cracks. And the good news I can give you is that the thing is cracking big time.
Who
We'll get there. The answer will surprise you. So we have two main views of what reality is right now on Earth. We have the spiritual consciousness view, which, just like the flat Earth, has been around in pretty much every single civilization and culture and spiritual tradition. And then you have the current mainstream scientific materialism that says there's no creator, it's all an accident, we will develop technologies to make ourselves immortal, and it's all focused on the economic things. So, which one of them do you think is true?
Right.
Well, let's assume we don't know. Let's give the benefit of the doubt to the materialist, okay? So let's go to the highest authorities in the scientific materialist paradigm in terms of consciousness. So the highest authorities in terms of consciousness, thinking, and so on. So let's go to neurosurgeons. Okay? These guys would be the ultimate authority in terms of the brain, because that's where you're supposed to be living, in this paradigm at least. So this guy's name is Michael Egner. He's done over 40 years, more than 7,000 brain surgeries. I don't think I've done 7,000 of anything in my life except eat, sleep, and go to the toilet. According to him, he basically says inside every damaged brain, well, inside every person, there's a feeling person with a spiritual soul that transcends the brain. This book is fascinating. So most brain operations are done with the person awake. And then, because the brain doesn't hurt. And then he's got so many examples of, like, he's talking to this person while he's pulling out, removing half of her frontal cortex, which supposedly is where your personality and everything is. And there's no change. There's identical twins that share brain portions. And they were two complete personalities, completely different. Conjoined twins. Sorry, yeah, conjoined twins, Siamese twins that shared brain. They were two completely different personalities. And many other examples, like people in deep coma that you can establish communication with and prove that using MRI and so on. So, I don't think we need any other evidence. He's not the only one, but he's the most recent and most interesting one I could find.
Adi, are you saying that the personality comes from the soul, not the brain? Or you...
Yeah, I'm saying you are not in the physical body. Whatever is you that is you is not in the physical body. Your all the abstract thinking, they touch the brain in order to bring up all sorts of things, but the only thing they could do is to do some emotions or movement. But when they did a test to see if they could tell that is them initiating the movement or it was touched, the patients were 100% correct. Meaning, free will is not in the brain.
Interesting.
The same for abstract thinking. So it's just some very basic, more like animalic kind of things were able to stimulate, but otherwise couldn't find anything. And they did like thousands of times, not just once, constantly. And at the end, he says, I have to write a book about it because it's not what I've been taught.
Wow.
I was in a coma for 6 weeks, and I was before I had the accident. I was completely in the matrix. I was a royal family flag waver. And then when I came round from the coma, it was like splintering mind. I knew I was immediately researching and when Brexit came round, that's when I started like, what the fuck, and then I've been down every rabbit hole from there, but mainly from Convid, but
Yeah, so when you are here, you are under pressure from all the things around you that they try to twist your personality in a certain way. But once you went off and you connected with your true self, when you came back, you're a completely different person. But you remember who you used to be, right?
I don't really remember a lot from before it.
Oh, okay. That's even more interesting.
Yeah, very weird.
All right,
You
well,
rewired you.
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So we went to the high priest of...
Quick word.
Yes?
I've tried my neck, yeah? 5 years, I've been in the worst pain any human can ever take. No one helped me, yeah? I've been in hospital for 6 months, I moved every time people died, yeah? I've only literally got Stan, the top neurologist, to get in touch with me this week to say I'm stable after 5 years. I've been to places that no one's been to before. I've died, yeah? The only way I've survived is to soldier on, and that's what I do now. I'm still going to die soon. But it's very hard to explain where everything comes from. You just got to keep going on and force yourself. I say I've been to the depths of hell. And I'm still like, I'm alright now, I can talk on here, but I can do anything. I've got no, I broke C1, 2 and 3. 2's gone now. I'm surprised. I don't know how, but my neck is just holding it together. And the brain's now working, but I've lost thoughts, memories, I walk, talk. If you touch me, a drop of water, I'll fall over in pain, and I'm talking about pain. So consciousness, I'm not sure about it, to be honest, because I've been there. The top neurologist, I've had 5 nurses just to keep me alive and feed me. I don't know. I've died. I haven't seen God. I haven't seen hell. I know I've felt pain more than anyone can ever take. Consciousness and stuff, I don't really understand it, to be honest.
It's not of the physical. Consciousness is not of the physical at the moment. That's the difference.
I've lost everything, I've got it all back. And I thought I would see stuff, yeah, in hell or whatever. No, I just party on, carry on, and soldier on, and try and be myself.
It's very different for different people on how you connect with the ultimate reality, and you'll see why, because it's not an external thing.
Just say I've tried, and just not seen the light or anything.
Thank you for sharing that, and we can talk a little bit after. So we gave the benefit of the doubt, or at least I think I did, by going to the high priest of materialism, trying to explain everything. So if consciousness is not in the body, then where is it? So again, I'm looking at, this is only 6, but I've seen at least 20, and pretty much every other culture and spiritual tradition. Okay, that's very small, but the idea is that we have many different bodies. We're not just the physical body. So you have anthroposophy, you have ancient Egypt, Indian Vedas, Kabbalah, ancient Greek, and Christian esoteric. And it all starts with the physical body, and then you've got your sort of life body or etheric body, and you got your feelings and emotions. We'll go into it a little bit later. This is another thing from the internet that maybe explains it a little bit better. Again, I'm not saying this is the truth. These are all models, but they're models that our ancestors believed in for thousands and thousands of years, as opposed to the current materialist paradigm that says the physical body is everything and there's nothing else. Rudolf Steiner explains it a bit more simple. So for example, there's 4 kingdoms of beings on the earth. Mineral only has physical body, okay, stones and so on. Plants also have etheric body, so they're more like they grow. Animals also have astral body, which is perception, inner sensations, emotions, and so on. And then humans are the only ones who have what you would call an individuality, Not that, for example, the animals don't have individuality. It's more like it's more prevalent in the human, and it's basically what we would call the soul. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
They do say that about animals, that they don't have a soul, so that
I don't agree
I
with
don't
I don't think
Not
animals.
when you're looking at the
No, animals have something, but it's much less. It's more incipient compared to a human.
Yeah.
There's crystals that minerals that grow, right? Crystals they grow, but that doesn't mean necessarily they have a full etheric body. They just have the tendency. So this is not, like up to here and then it stops. It's a sort of a continuous, and it's an evolutionary process.
Yeah, that would only be if the human was a pure person, though, because I think the animals are completely sentient, and they're actually far more loving than most.
They might be, but if they, which means they have perceptions, inner sensations, they can give love.
Right.
But if they don't have a soul,
Depends on how you determine what a soul is, doesn't it? If you're talking
Yeah,
about
true.
the greater, then you realise that an animal comes through on a sole purpose.
There was somebody
You
that
can see,
actually
like, almost like
filmed one
angels.
time in slow motion a mouse dying in a mousetrap, and they actually caught it on camera where the soul was leaving the body.
So there, because there's been an evolution of the consciousness. So there were times when there were no humans on Earth,
Right.
but the human soul can come and incarnate into an animal if it wants to experience certain things.
You can actually body hop. That's happened to me. When you can body hop, and you can actually see life through somebody else's eyes.
Right.
And see what's going on in their life. It hasn't happened to me for a very long time. Don't get me wrong, but I have done it. And so it shows you're not as fixed in your body as you think.
Right. So this is a model. It's not set in stone.
sorry, it's only a model.
But it resembles reality to a certain extent, okay? And it's for the purpose of us trying to understand what's going on, starting from nothing, or actually from the inversion of the truth.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Are we going to be able to get access to some of this material later? I feel like I should be taping everything you say.
We're recording. It's going to be on the YouTube
It's gonna be
channel.
on
Don't
YouTube.
worry.
Are we going to be able to see like?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see all of this.
The slides will come up on the video.
I'll send you the
All
PowerPoint
of this will come
presentation,
up.
or you can put it on the
Can we
website.
get PowerPoint to it?
I can send it out to you. So, okay, we know we have a soul, and let's look at the history of the soul. And first thing would be, how does a soul evolve? And since everything is reflected back to us as above, so below, and so on, actually, there is something in nature that shows us how this works. And that is the life cycle of the butterfly, which the dark forces also know about and try to hijack. And now let's see if I can play this thing.
A female butterfly will first find a nice looking tree and lay its tiny eggs on the underside of the tree or plant's leaves. Each egg contains a tiny, tiny caterpillar larva. The egg is the size of a pinhead, and the mother will lay 500 eggs at a time. It then takes 4 days for the egg to hatch. By this point, the larva is freaking starving, so it eats its way out of its own egg. Then it eats the rest of the eggshell as well. It also eats the entire leaf it's on. It will then take a break to shed its first layer of skin. The caterpillar will then spend the next week eating leaves and growing into a full-sized caterpillar. Once fully grown, this ravenous tyrant can eat a full leaf in under an hour. Once the caterpillar has gotten all nice and fat, it prepares for the big change. It finds a nice, quiet spot underneath a branch and spins itself a silk button to attach itself to the underside of the branch. It's commonly thought that the caterpillar now mates its chrysalis, also known as a pupa, but not a cocoon, that's something else. But it doesn't make it. It in fact grows this hardened shell underneath its top layer of skin in the week leading up to its metamorphosis. So, when the time comes, all it has to do is shed its top layer of skin, and its protected pupa is all ready for the transformation to begin. But if you were able to see inside the pupa whilst this is taking place, you might be rather horrified. The transformation begins with the caterpillar releasing digestive enzymes to eat itself alive, effectively turning itself into a soup. But not every cell liquefies. Certain groups of highly organised cells remain as solids within the soup. Over the course of 2 weeks, this caterpillar curry slowly turns into a butterfly broth and then into an actual butterfly, all from a gooey liquid. It's such an incredible phenomenon that scientists still aren't quite sure how this liquid organised itself into a butterfly.
They're never quite
What's
sure
so
of
amazing
anything.
about it is that everything about the creature changes during the transformation. Its shape, its tastes, how it eats, how it moves, and how it senses. Yet, the butterfly is still able to remember its life as a caterpillar. You would think that your brain being turned into a soup, then reshaped into a completely new brain, would erase all of your memories. But a recent study showed that butterflies were able to remember the solution to a puzzle that they were taught how to solve when they were a caterpillar. Meaning, some of the synaptic connections in the caterpillar's brain must survive the soupification.
Do you think some synapses might have survived the stupefaction, or maybe the caterpillar's mind is not in the caterpillar's body? But this is the process that each and every one of you went at some point, and some of you probably multiple times. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and so on. And came out a completely different being after that. And that's what it takes to evolve consciousness. That's how it works. And by the way, the caterpillar can shed its skins multiple times before it goes into the transformation process. So there's different levels of transformation there.
A female.
Sorry. Bruce Lipton, this used to be an interesting guy, but now he's on Gaia, so I think he sold out. But before that, he said some really interesting things. The caterpillar and the butterfly have the exact same DNA, but they're complete different manifestations of that DNA. They are the same organism, but are receiving and responding to a different organizing signal. That reminds you of anything? Come on. So you change the impulse you're following, the radio station you're tuning in, and the pattern is completely different, even though it's the same matter. This has a really interesting kind of effect, or creates an interesting phenomenon. So, does the caterpillar know it will be a butterfly? And the answer is no. The butterfly remembers being a caterpillar because its mind or whatever is not in the body, but the caterpillar has no idea what he's gonna be when he finishes going through this process. As a matter of fact, the immune system of the caterpillar initially resists the transformation. So this creates a phenomenon similar to the same thing we've seen on the flat Earth when you see in perspective. So by seeing in perspective, you get the horizon. The horizon is a purely optical effect, like Dave Weiss is saying. It's not curvature. Everything goes into the vanishing point. It's the same thing with consciousness. So the consciousness of a caterpillar cannot see as far as the consciousness of a butterfly. And that's why we all have a mate that says something like that.
Mm.
No, of course, yeah.
Can you read it, please?
It says, the blonde guy says, looks like chemtrails are real. And his friend says, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that for years. And the guy says, but you couldn't have known. They just announced it on TV. Okay, so that's something that has to do with your consciousness horizon. Alright, so now that we know how consciousness evolves, how did it all start? Now, this one is gonna be a crazy one. We know it wasn't this one. Okay. And we know it's not this one either.
It's amazing how
Now, some of you, or most of you, might be familiar with this one. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, darkness, blah, 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 blah. And basically, a supernatural being, all-powerful, all-knowing, came and created everything. What most people don't know is that there is another Genesis story in the Bible. Okay, some people know. In the Gospel of John, it says, in the beginning there was the Logos, and the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God. It has been mistranslated in English into the Word. But the Word means like a verbalizing thing, which in Greek is logalia, not logos. Logos basically means consciousness that has in it everything there is to know, like it's basically absolute consciousness. Okay? And then it gets more and more interesting. It's literally like going down the rabbit hole. We've seen this before. All things were made through this one, not by this one. And without this one was not anything made that was made. So, there you go. And now for the thing that gets me every time. And this one was life. And the life was the light of humanity. So what does that tell you? That there is light in every and single one of you. And that light is the life of the Creator. The Creator is alive, is living in you, in that light. Okay, and sharing every experience with you. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So, I was thinking, I might be this one, Hitomi is this one, I don't know which one is you. But you can pick any one of those. So, okay, let's look, that's how it started. Let's look how it's supposed to go and how it went so far. Again, it is said across many different sources of information, more new and all that. This journey is a journey of going down into matter and coming back up. So we started as perfect spiritual beings, pure, innocent, and completely ignorant of anything. Okay? Equivalent to the eggs or the larva in the butterfly life cycle. We were driven by the desire for experience, the desire to know ourselves, but literally to experience. We're not thinking like, I want to know myself. We just wanted to experience, okay? The creator wanted to experience itself. The consciousness, the logos, wanted to experience itself. And boy, did we experience. And after quite a while, apparently much longer time than the time since we had a body, we did not have a body. So this journey down into materialization works at different densities. But at some point, we do get a body, and we do become physical. And still not as physical as we are now. But we do get physical, and then we say, whoa, I can do things. I can shape things. I can create things. And we kept going out and creating and experiencing. And boy, did we create. So we were the caterpillar going out, shedding its skin, eating, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we had Atlantis and the great civilizations of the past. And we think that now we're the most advanced technologically civilization there's ever been, but we're nowhere near what we've had. But there's a reason for that. Because at some point, which in most esoteric tradition is associated with the resurrection of the Christ, a new impulse came in. So, just like the butterfly, we went into a pupa, it's called. This is why heaven's closed. All the way up to here, we had spiritual beings walking among us. We had the gods walking among us, but we were children. They were guiding us, they were helping us, they were doing all sorts of things to us. But they were on a mandate to bring different energies, if you want, into our consciousness, to get us to evolve. But when this new impulse came in, all of a sudden, the heavens closed. These beings are not allowed to come and mess with us anymore. We are like in a pressure cooker, and we're meant to sort ourselves out and to figure it out for ourselves, to do the inflection thing ourselves. To not continue going down into materialization, but to basically start following the new impulse. So nowadays we have these things which are nothing like the civilizations of the past, and all your science fiction movies and so on, they're not about the future. There's never gonna be humans colonizing Mars and all that bullshit. Right? And we know that now, because we're starting to go up and we're starting to realize what's going on. The next civilization is not going to be necessarily a civilization. Actually, it's not even going to matter what it's going to look like, a civilization. Because the next step is not a civilization, the next step is a different human being. And it's not what transhumanists said. So the next stage of development of humanity is to become like this. Or for people of different spiritual orientations, something like this. Okay, it's the same thing, coming from the same dream, same myth, but just done by Lucasfilm. So this is the future. This is what we're moving into. The development of humanity is going within. Is finding within ourselves the abilities and the powers and to literally overcome death. Okay, to find, we're not there yet, but we're going. We've been sent somebody to demonstrate it for us, And we did exactly what was expected. We killed him and he came back. And that's the, at least that's the myth, that's the story, that's what's guiding us right now. So what's the final purpose of this journey? Well, oh, before we go there, there's forces on Earth that want to hijack this process. And Steiner warned us 100 years ago, not only about the thing they put into your veins, well, not you guys, but and nanobots and stuff, but also that it's going to come a time when technology is going to advance to the point that if we do not advance ourselves in consciousness to match the advancement in technology, we're in big trouble. And he said it's going to be in about 100 years, meaning today. So this is where they want to take us. What this is doing is following the materialization process further than it's supposed to be. It's basically a degeneration. If you're gonna get any of these implants and stuff, God help you, because you're in trouble. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will, but they will make a very big push for it. And I think Elon Musk and Trump, from what the looks of it, they're pushing for it. So what happens at the end of this journey? What's the final destination? Well, remember, we started as sweet, innocent children of the Creator. The purpose is to become mature spiritual beings. Edgar Cayce says that the Creator did not want somebody, a slave or a worshipper. The Creator wanted a being that's capable of taking its development into its own hands. And this is why we came down, so far down into matter, to develop this individuality, this ability to raise ourselves back up, and to mature, to learn the consequences of actions and so on. And by our own choice to rise ourselves back. And many spiritual beings have tried that and have failed. But where, you know, you have all these fallen angels and stories in every single tradition. But where they have failed, humanity is supposed to succeed. Rudolf Steiner says that we're supposed to become a fourth hierarchy of angels, or 10th, depending on how you count. The angels of love and freedom. Okay, if you think about it, everything in your life, everything, is either about love or freedom, or a combination, or lack, or some dynamic between the two. Everything you look at, you can see it in that way. Sorry, somebody? Question?
I have one, Andy.
Yeah.
Right at the very start of that arrow, you said you started off this consciousness and then we decide who or what decided we step from consciousness into a physical form. Because you go from consciousness to the Atlanteans, but you just said we transitioned into it.
From this into this. Is that what you're saying? What you're asking?
Remember per se.
We decided. We
as a consciousness, we decided
yes.
to create matter.
Yes. The Creator wanted to experience itself. We, as the Creator, wanted to experience ourselves, wanted to grow, to mature.
So as a consciousness, we decided to become a solid entity.
Eventually, yes, it was in steps and gradual, but yes, we decided to experience the creation more and more. And the creation was not just us.
Talking about the going from an etheric child angel, for example, consciousness, to come down through, into physical materialism, would it be to do literally with the denseness of this realm, and then above this realm and everything else? How many are we talking that we're going?
Absolutely.
To realms? Okay.
But the thing is, we're not necessarily going back up. That's more of a Luciferian New Agey thing. We're bringing the whole spiritual thing down here by us evolving and becoming these angels of love and freedom.
Heaven on earth?
Oh,
Pretty
there's-
much, yeah.
There's a phrase in the Bible, I can't remember it. It's something about being able to bring the material into the spiritual. I don't know, it's in the Bible.
Yes, it is about bringing the spiritual into material, which only an individuated being can do. Okay?
Yeah. I can't remember the phrase.
So, moving on.
But you have to experience a negative to get on the other side.
You have to experience what you're not in order to realize what you are.
Exactly. And so in that respect, that would be the way it would go, because if Creator wanted to experience it through us, then we have to go through that pain, suffering, blah, 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 in order to understand what the opposite is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where are we now? We're somewhere here. We've been cocooned on the globe Earth, right? There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, and then we've been going through these cycles and resets and what you have you. And again, if you read about the process the butterfly goes through, it says he's dancing when he's there. He's not dancing, he's getting eaten alive. he's spasming, and so, welcome to life on Earth. But right now, we're at a point somewhere in between this and this. So that's why, all of a sudden, there's a big thing about flat Earth. That's why, all of a sudden, there's this thing about the old world, about remembering who we are and so on. So, shall we take a 5-10 minute break, and then we're gonna go into this part.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I think we do. Thank you very much. That was brilliant, Aggie. Get yourselves a drink. 10 minutes. We'll be back for part 2, another half an hour or so.
Wow.
Thank you.
Go through that cycle and come back
No, I just want to. Oh wow, it's so lovely to have somebody like you.
I've been